National headlines tonight, signs are pointing to progress, at least when it comes to a trade deal with China. President Trump's Treasury Secretary says a framework to negotiate is now in place, which involves both sides backing away from previous threats. National correspondent Christine Frizzell brings us the details.
Upon arriving in Malaysia, a presidential two-step ahead of big talks on trade.
I think we have a really good chance of making a very comprehensive deal.
President Trump referring to his upcoming meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping. Top U.S. officials giving hints of optimism after both countries have reportedly put recent threats on pause. China had said they'd put export controls on rare earth minerals used in everything from cars to electronics to weapons. In turn, Trump threatened an additional 100% tariff on Chinese goods, which Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says is off the table for now.
I believe that we have the framework for the two leaders to have a very productive meeting for both sides, and I think it will be fantastic for U.S. citizens, for U.S. farmers, and for our country in general.
Talks also expected to be dominated by fentanyl, the components of which are made in China, and China's recent decision to stop buying soybeans from American farmers. But progress with an adversary has been clouded by a new round of disdain for a close friend. Trump raising tariffs on Canada another 10% in retaliation for this ad he calls hostile.
Over the long run, such trade barriers hurt every American worker and consumer.
What was the purpose of that other than to sway public opinion? And, it's some kind of propaganda.
The Premier of Ontario agreeing to pull the ad as critics accuse the president of using tariffs to suppress free speech.
The government of Ontario has the right to criticize him, but he's now going to use the tariffs to try to punish people overseas from speaking out against him, just like he's using the Department of Justice or the FCC to try to punish and control people who are speaking out against him here in America.
The next stop for President Trump, Japan. And then he's off to an economic summit in South Korea. That is where he's set to meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping on Thursday, after which time we'll have a much better sense on the temperature on trade. I'm Christine Frizzell reporting.